May the Force be with you.
Hello, and welcome to the Phantom Nights podcast, where we break down pop culture one Phantom at a time. I'm Dustin, the Star Wars guy, and today we're going to be talking about the War of the Bounty Hunters crossover comic series. So, what that entails is the 4 current running Star Wars issues, all kind of mashing in for this awesome giant story. So, that's what we're going to talk about today. The War of the Bounty Hunters crossover comic series starts with um, the Alpha Prelude, which you can see right here, the cover, and basically it's just the beginning of the story essentially. So it's a really good issue. It's called The War of the Bounty Hunters Alpha Prelude. So the release date, it was written by Charles Soule and illustrated by Steve McNiven, and the colorist by award-winning Laura Martin. And she's had works on Old Man Logan and The Death of Wolverine, and I think it was, yeah, she did the Secret Invasion stuff too back in, I think it was 2009. So that's pretty cool too. And she's been exclusively with Marvel Comics since 2009. And yeah. So this issue came out on May 5th, 2021, kicking off a Bounty Hunter week, and and it was the day after Star Wars Day, obviously, May the 4th, and so that was pretty cool. The color schemes on the cover by Steve McNiven was really cool. It was really dark, kind of a dark theme, dark-esque to it, so that was fun to kind of look at, and yeah, we'll kind of kick off with the story for you guys right here. Just like the Star Wars movies, these issues, or at least some of them, have opening crawls. And so the beginning opening crawl of this first Alpha Prelude for this series states Boba Fett, the galaxy's most dangerous hunter, claims the bounty of notorious smuggler and rebel officer Han Solo. Jabba the Hutt eagerly awaits Fett's delivery of Solo's Carbonite frozen body to Tatooine, where the crime lord will exact his final revenge. Han Solo's debt is thus paid, but Boba is desperate for a payday himself. The story starts off with Boba Fett riding in Slave One, receiving a call from Bib Fortuna, Jabba's right-hand man, and telling him Jabba is awaiting the arrival of his package. Boba Fett responds and says he doesn't want any complications. All of a sudden, Han Solo starts to thaw out, and Boba gets worried. Boba Fett goes to a colleague on the planet of Nar Shaddaa, the smuggler's moon, named Doc Raygon, a Beskalisk male, and he looks over the thawing Han Solo to see about stabilizing him for Boba. Doc Raygon will only do it for cash up front, and Boba, of course, doesn't have it on him, and Boba suggests that he waits until he gets his reward for Han Solo, and then he can pay Raygon double his fee. At first, Raygon declines and says only way that Raygon will help him is if he takes out Worman Lictor, a female pit warrior, in a pit match involved with the Kanji Club. Then the payment is forgiven. Boba doesn't want to get in his business, so Raygon says, fine, I won't get involved in yours. Raygon convinces Boba to enter the fight and has some nano spray paint and spray paints his armor black to be in disguise and signs up under the name of Django. Boba, then and there, has a flashback of a memory from Geonosis of his dad when he, got his head cut off by Mace Windu. They called him the Beskar Brawler. Now, Boba defeats numerous enemies to be able to get to the champion, who of course is Worman Lictor, and he faces Worman Lictor in the championship round, and just as things seem to be not going Boba's way, and gets, pierced through the chest, which I thought he was dead meat after that. He comes back and blows up the ceiling and crushes Worman Lictor and becomes the champ. Now Boba, who is just covered in guts and blood, goes to the collections desk for his money, and the Kanji Club interrupts and tells him that, Boba, you owe us money, and his winnings will cover it. Because, you killed our prize fighter. Or, if he chooses to keep it, you'll have to fight your way out of it then. Boba says, screw it, leaves without his earnings, and goes back to Doc Raygon. Back at his shop, Raygon is, waiting for Boba to come back and gets shot in cold blood by an unknown criminal and dies, while the unknown party steals Han Solo in Carbonite. Boba goes back to get Han Solo and sees that Rhaegon dead on the floor and his bounty gone without a trace. Bib Fortuna, out of the blue, calls him back to reassure that Boba is delivering Han Solo on time. And Boba responds with, "I'm on the way, but it's going to be a minute." Thus ending the first issue of this crazy story that can really go anywhere. So let's talk about some of the big moments in this issue. It was a classic third party kind of disturbing everyone. The Kanji Club kind of coming in the way of Boba collecting his earnings, and another third party stealing Han Solo from Boba Fett and stuff like that, and Doc Rhaegon. So I think that it's just that classic. You gotta watch your stuff, or it's gonna be gone. So I think that it was a good issue, good beginning. Definitely set off a journey of possibilities for this issue and this crossover series in general. So I think that's pretty cool to look at. And the writing of this issue, I mean, Charles Soule just has a way with words, man. I mean, especially in the Star Wars universe, he's such a nerd for Star Wars stuff and just gets the universe. And it's cool that he's a fan of the universe and actually wants to make good Star Wars stories. So that helps. And so I think he's doing a good job with that. Just look at his work that he's done so far already on Star Wars. It's unbelievable. The illustrations by Steve McNiven, dude, such a good drawer or illustrator, I guess is a better word for it. He's such a good illustrator, and I think it's just proven why he's one of the best in the industry. And there was like 6 variant covers for this, and he did like 3 or 4 of them, and including the cover for this one as well, which I'll put right here above my hand. Well, we're right about there. Put it right there. Okay. And yeah, so I think it was just really cool. I think the coloring by Laura Martin, she's an award-winning colorist for comics, and so I think you can't really get better than her, really. So it was pretty good. I like the tone of the colors. It kind of showed a mysterious kind of vibe, and the story could go anywhere. So you got to really pay attention more than just the story. You got to look at the colors, the drawings, everything. I mean, it's like a WandaVision all over again. You got to pay attention to every little detail, and because it can tell you about some little part of the story. So yeah, I think the theories for the future, I don't really have a whole lot. It's still pretty early. I kind of see that this could be some kind of criminal organization of some sort, because we know about a lot of them, from the Clone Wars TV show and Rebels and comic series in the past, and so we know about a lot of criminal organizations. I think we're gonna probably dive deep into that, especially with the bounty hunters aspect of this. So I think that's inevitable. Like Thanos says, "I'm inevitable." So yeah, I think the overall rating for this comic, I mean, out of 10, I'd probably have to give a solid 8 out of 9, even though ratings for people like me out of bum duck nowhere really matter. So I think out of 10, it's an 8 out of 9 though. 8 or a 9. I'm gonna be a solid 8. Yeah, because ratings matter. Anyways, I think that will do it for us here for kind of talking about the comic. The next one is going to be the next issue, I should say, is going to be Star Wars 13. So pretty excited to talk about that one. It's also a prelude. All the 4 running comics of Star Wars, Bounty Hunters, Dr. Aphra, and Bounty Hunters. I'm sorry. I screwed that up. Darth Vader, Star Wars, Bounty Hunters, and Dr. Aphra all have a prelude before the story really kicks off in like War of the Bounty Hunters 1. I'm so excited to talk about that issue because there's such a good cameo appearance from a character from Solo. We'll reveal that in 5 more episodes. Got a lot of work to do. All right. See you guys later. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up here us up at Fandom Nights for this first installment of our coverage of the War of the Bounty Hunters crossover series. So if you'd like to, stay tuned for the second edition, the second issue, because there's 17 or 19 issues out right now. I don't have to catch up and get them all out there. So if you want to see more and can't afford to get the comics yourself, hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Phantom Nights. And visit us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, we're there. TikTok, not so much on there anymore, but I think we should ramp up that activity, So, anyways, thanks always for joining us. Hey, and if you're listening to the audio version of this, listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because why not? But that's all I got for you guys. So thank you guys again, and may the Force be with you always.